Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. We're going to talk briefly today about a popular topic in international dating, and that is scamming, or how to avoid getting scammed. I'm calling this striking gold or digging for gold, because you can strike gold in the Philippines with a beautiful wife that'll be a great helper for you, but then again, you can get scammed also. And so it's best to have a little bit of awareness before you get involved talking with a Filipina, because her beauty will be overwhelming. Her accent is very charming, and the combination, and you may just not be able to make any good decisions when looking at a Filipina. They are that beautiful. So we'll start with not sending money unless you are engaged, at least. Engaged, married, or have what you would consider an established relationship. I don't believe in never send any money, because you just have to play it by ear. She may have something that's valid, like she needs money for a load for her phone, or maybe she needs a better phone, and yes, a person can use that and scam you, and to some degree you're just going to have to trust. I mean, you may miss out on a good wife because she does need a phone or a load, and what does it hurt to give her some money right away if she needs it for that? And I'm not saying the first day or two or three or four that you're talking to her she starts asking for something, but when you realize you've got a good thing going and something comes up and it's not that expensive, it doesn't hurt to give her that. I just don't believe in the one size fits all, never send money. So don't do that. And as the relationship becomes more serious, you can choose to do more. And some of you men may not realize just how much poverty there is in the Philippines. I was shocked when I went to the Philippines, and I'm glad I did, because it let me know what the situations there are like. They're tough. So she does have needs, and she has more needs than she's going to tell you about. And a good Filipina won't make a big deal about her lack. She'll tell you that she wants to take care of yourself. Good Filipina probably will not ask you for money, even if she needs it. But if you ask her, can I help you somehow, she may say yes, and she may still say no, and that may frustrate you. If there's one thing I argued about with my wife early on, was she wouldn't accept my help, and even after we got married, she still would say, no, I'll be all right. I've got enough food for the day to make it today. I'll be okay, and hon, I'm your husband. You've got to let me provide for you. That's what I'm supposed to do. And no, I'll be okay. Well, eventually I could break her down, but it wasn't easy. Now, we got engaged on day 18. I went down there to marry her. We got married in less than 8 weeks. So naturally, I had to send her a substantial amount of money, just because we had to, just logistically. I bought her a ring that was, about $4,000. That's about 2 years' wages. So if she was a scammer and I got her something like that, I could easily turn around, she could sell it and never see me again or something. That's a lot of money in the Philippines. I had to give her money for the wedding. We had a nice big wedding, and I paid for that, and of course, place for me to stay and all kinds of things. And I had to get that to her before I even left. And I never really thought that she was going to run off with it. And she didn't. She told me she would give me receipts for everything because she wanted me to trust her. And so that's good. I didn't have to trust her. She wanted to prove to me, where the money was going. And she was faithful to that. Also, now be wary if the woman you're interested in is at a bar in a lot of her photos, or she's drinking in a lot of her photos. Personally, I can't be legalistic and say that a Christian should never drink. I'm not going to do that. I know myself, I don't drink, and I wanted my wife to not drink alcohol. My parents' marriage was ruined by alcohol that ruined their marriage. They got divorced, and I've never seen anything good in that. So I just choose to personally avoid that. And this is my advice here to you. If she's got a drink in her photos, then what is she trying to tell you? That she's a party girl? You want someone to be a stable, consistent wife, not a party animal. So for me, there's millions of Filipinas out there, if you're on Filipina dating sites, that aren't drinking. They aren't drinking, holding a glass of alcohol. So you can just move on from them and go on to find someone that's not. I mean, with so many Filipinas to choose from, just be picky. In a sense, you can be picky about these types of things. Also, be wary if she shows too much skin, too much cleavage, because that's totally unnecessary. And so, because she could get many other pictures in all likelihood, she doesn't have to be making that impression on you. This is something just so blatantly obvious to me. If she's showing too much, well, okay, she's showing too much. But in the marriage, what it takes is her inner character, her desire to be a good wife, and to do the dirty work, that we both have to do to be married. You already know she's attractive. She's a Filipina. Now, they don't know that they're as attractive as we do, because there's so many of them. They get lost in all the beauty, and they all begin to look, the same to them. But to us, they're very beautiful, and cleavage is not needed. And if I saw it, it's a turnoff to me. I would just look for somebody else that is wearing, a t-shirt, nice, everyday, ordinary clothes. Looks, doesn't look like they're trying to force something on me that probably will lead to it not going well. That's just my opinion. Now, I've had a successful marriage so far, so I'd like to think that I'm doing something right. If she is talking sexy to you, and let's say you've only known each other a few weeks, well, that also to me is inappropriate. I would dump her and move on to somebody else, because again, she's trying to make an impression on me, which is probably to distract me or divert my attention to something else, which maybe is how she really is. I can see how she looks, and I don't need her to talk sexy. If I want to marry her and have sex with her, I'll propose to her. So something like that, where she's talking using sexual language, to me it's inappropriate, and I would just move on. Also, when you're chatting, internet cafes are notorious for women who are scamming you. However, that does not mean that she is scamming you. I think it's safer that you talk to her when she is at home, and hopefully she can afford to have a computer or cell phone or something at home, laptop, where she can speak to you from her home, where you can see her family and they can hear what she's saying, and they can hear what you're saying if they understand English, and you can talk to the family. That's ideal. I did talk to one woman that was in an internet cafe. I believe that was the only way she could do it, but it's just something to be wary of. It's best if they are at home. And you got to be careful about this. Be suspicious if her story changes or if she's inconsistent, because it could mean that she's talking to multiple men and she just can't keep track of who she's talking to. Or it could mean that she's just not interested, or she's lying to you. So anyway, if she's focusing on you and you're focusing on her, there shouldn't be too much trouble remembering things. You might have to say, now I know you told me this before, but I don't remember. That's fine. But if she's saying things like, last week I said I was going to do this, and then a week later she says she did something else, or she didn't do that, it may be because she just said that and forgot that she said that to you. So you kind of have to have a decent memory about what's going on. And if you're talking to 5 or 6 women at the same time, it's going to be real hard for you to remember which person told you what. So this can be a problem area. So just be aware if her story changes. And one thing about my wife, she was very, very consistent. And when I got to the Philippines, that validated even more of the things that she said when we were dating, because we got married so quickly. So just keep an eye out or an ear out for inconsistencies in that she says. So there's a lot of sensible ways to avoid a scam. I like the website foreignwifehappylife.com, Foreign Wife Happy Life. JD's got a lot of good tips on this, which I didn't know before I went to the Philippines. I didn't know anything about it. Maybe I am the luckiest man in the world, and it worked out well. But he will talk to you about a lot more ways to avoid scams than I could. He can do it better, so I would let you go there. Also, the dating site that you're on should be able to help you identify a scammer. Now, I trust Christian Filipina with that because that's where I found my wife. But wherever you are, you should be able to call up the customer service, the sales team, whoever it is that's answering the phones, and say, okay, is this right? This is something that this woman said to me. Does this sound right? Is this appropriate? Is it too soon? Does this sound like a popular scam in the Philippines, this circumstance she just described? And number one, if there's nobody to talk to and ask about that on the dating site, I'd find another dating site. And number two, if they don't answer it and are not matter of fact about it, I would find a new dating site, because that dating site, hopefully they're Filipinas that are there that are talking to you and will be very open and honest with you about whether or not you're getting scammed, because a good dating site cares about good experiences from the people, because that's just good word of mouth advertising, and to let somebody get scammed is bad for business, and a good dating site will care about that and will want to help you not get scammed. So you'll just have to dive in, get started, get talking to some women, and try not to be overwhelmed with their beauty, and realize that there is a lot of scamming going on in the Philippines because it's a very poor country for the most part. And if you were there too, you might consider doing something like that just simply to survive and to help your loved ones survive. However, not all Filipinas are like that, and the good ones are not likely to be asking you for money. They're likely to be protesting if you try to help them, because they don't want to feel helpless. They want to feel like they can take care of themselves, and they want you to know that they can take care of themselves. So money is a big thing people talk about scamming, so take those things to heart. Now, the Philippines is, and it still remains, a gold mine for great wives, where you can find your love beyond the sea.